Hello students, today we are going to discuss the lecture number 2 of atomic structure, the module 1. So let's start the class. So students, today we are going to discuss, as I told you, that is our lecture number 2, module 1 of atomic structure. Okay, so this is the subject name, that is chemistry. This is the subject code, as you know. The credit is 3, contact hour is 35. These are the some of the course objective of our course. These are the some of the course outcomes. Okay, so I have also given the lecture plan in this slide. So last day we have already discussed the lecture number 1, and today we are going to discuss the lecture number 2. Okay, so these are the some of the objectives of our today's class. So you can, after this class, you can able to explain the line spectra of hydrogen atom. Next objective of our class is, that is, you can know the drawbacks of Bohr's model. You can last day we have discussed about the Rutherford experiment, Rutherford atomic model, and also the Bohr's atomic model. Today we will discuss about the drawbacks. What are the problems if we follow the Bohr atomic model? That today we will discuss. Okay, and how can we sort out that problem with the Summerfield model, atomic model? That also today we will discuss. Okay, and next we will discuss about the Zeeman effect. What will be the effect? What do you mean by Zeeman effect? What is it? Okay, so these all the topics that we will cover today, and these are the very important topics. Okay, so you have to follow the class very well. Okay, so this is the recapitulation. Whatever we have discussed earlier in my previous class, this is just a glance. At a glance, you can know. You have now you know that the atomic structure. Okay, you can explain what are the atoms, what are the electrons, what are the constituents of the nucleus, that you know now. You also now know about the Rutherford atomic model, and from the Rutherford experiment, what are the conclusions that we get? That is also you knew from my previous class. Okay, the merits and demerits of this Rutherford atomic model, and obviously, to sort out these demerits, we have the Bohr's atomic model, and also we have discussed about the Bohr's atomic model. Okay, so this is the just at a glance, because this class is also the continuation of the previous class. That's why for your recapitulation, I am just giving a glance of the previous class. Okay, so this is the atomic structure. At the center we have the nucleus, and around the nucleus we have the electron. The electrons are revolving. Okay, so this is the Rutherford model. The Rutherford, in his experiment, Rutherford, what he did, some of the alpha particles hit the gold foil. Okay, and maximum alpha particles deflected straight. Okay, and very few will be deflected from its path, and so one or two alpha particle, what he experimented, one or two alpha particle just return back 180 degree. So from this he just concluded that at the center of the atom we have a nucleus, that is the positive mass. Okay, and around that positive mass, the electrons are revolving. These are the some of the conclusions that he has made after his experiment. Okay, now these are the some of the limitations. What are the limitations? Very important. Okay, so if we follow the Maxwell rule, according to Maxwell, if some charged particle will be revolving, what will happen? It will continuously emit some of the radiations. Okay, so after that means it will be also the case for the electron, and after some time the electron will collapse into the nucleus. But that is not the actual case. That means according to the Rutherford model, we cannot explain the stability of atom. Also, through the Rutherford model, we cannot explain the hydrogen spectra, line spectra. Okay, so these are the some of the limitations of Rutherford experiment. Now we have the Bohr's atomic model. According to Bohr's atomic model, what will happen? The electrons, generally the electrons are revolving, according to him, electrons are revolving in a specific track, specific orbit. Okay, and with a specific angular momentum, that is MVR. Angular momentum, all you know, that is MVR, and MVR equals to NH by 2 pi. Okay, and electrons are also, he stated that electrons while revolving around the nucleus, it's not emitting continuously the electromagnetic radiation. Only when the electron will change its path, change its track, that time only the electron will emit some of the energy, or it will absorb some of the energy, and which is shown by the spectra. Okay, understand? So this is called by Bohr's atomic model. Next, we have seen the derivation of the Bohr's atomic model. The radius, we have derived the radius of the nth orbit of Bohr's theory, and the equation is R equals to n square a square by 4 pi square mz e square, where n is the principal quantum number, h is the Planck constant, pi is a constant, m is the mass of the electron, z is the atomic number, and e is the charge of the electron. Okay, and also we have got the energy of an electron, which is revolving in the nth orbit, and which is En equals to minus 2 pi square mz square e to the power 4 divided by m square square. These two, equation number 1 and equation number 2, you have to remember these two equations very well, because based on this equation you can have so many problems in your exam. So that's why you have to memorize this equation, and also practice the derivation. Also, this type of questions you may have in your exam very frequently. Derive the nth Bohr orbit, that is R equals to n square a square by 4 pi square mz e square. Or you can have this type of question, derive the energy of an electron which is revolving in nth orbit. Okay, so this type of questions you may have in your exam. So that's why you have to practice the derivation, and also you have to solve the problems based on this equation. Okay, now these are the some of the quick reviews, how much you you understood in the previous class, and how much you can remember. For checking that, I'm giving one question, that is, in which of the cases Bohr's theory is not applicable? The options are hydrogen, H plus, helium plus, and lithium plus 2. So for this you have 10-second time. Just memorize whatever I have taught yesterday in the previous class. Just memorize that thing and easily you can do it. because very easy question. Only you have to just remember whatever I have discussed. Okay, so your 10-second time is over. Now, absolutely, you are absolutely right. Yes. Excuse me. Bohr's theory, actually, Bohr's theory is applicable for one electron, single electron system. Okay, so the answer is answer 2, H plus. Okay, as because Bohr's theory is applicable for the single electron, mono electron system. So H, hydrogen, He plus, helium plus, lithium plus 2. These all are following the Bohr's theory. Only the H plus, because H plus means we don't have any electron here. So that is why the H plus at element or ion will not follow the Bohr's theory. Very good. Okay, so these are the today's class. Now today we will discuss about the line spectra of hydrogen atom. Okay, line spectra. So how can we get this spectral line? This is one spectral line, second spectral line, third one, fourth one. How can we get? Actually, what will happen? The electrons, according to the Bohr's model, what will happen? The electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a specific orbit, right? And also we have a specific angular momentum for each electron, and electron are not continuously irradiating, right? Whenever that electron changes track, change the orbit, okay, that time only what will happen? The energy will be emitted or energy will be absorbed. That is depending on the on which orbit the electron will be transferred. That is it depends on that. Okay, so while the energy will be emitted, that energy we can see as a spectra. Okay, so thus we can have the hydrogen spectra, the line spectra of the hydrogen atom also. So here you can see this is n equals to 1, n equals to 2. Different energy levels are given. Look at that. N equals to 4, 5, n equals to 7, n equals 6, n equals to 7. Okay, different energy levels are given. And look here, if the electron first line spectra is Lyman series, it's called by Lyman series. So if the electron will be any electron, if the electron will jump over the n1 orbit, okay, it can jump from the n2 orbit, it can jump from n3, it can jump from n4, it can jump for n5, it can jump from n6 or from n7. So if the electron will jump to the n1 orbit, that spectra, for that spectra, that is called by Lyman series. Okay, understand? Yes. Next we have Balmer series. Balmer series means while the electron will jump over the n2 orbital. Okay, the electron can jump from the n3, it can jump from the n4 orbital, from n5 orbital, or n6 or n7. But we, for that, whatever line spectra we will get, that is called by Balmer series, right? So Lyman series, that means the all the electrons will jump from any energy level to the n1 energy levels. Okay, for Balmer series, the electron will jump to the n2 orbital. Okay, it can jump from n3, from 4, for 5, whatever it is. But while it will come to the n2 orbital, from that whatever we are getting the spectra, that spectra is called by Balmer series. Next we have Paschen series. Paschen series, while whenever the electron will jump over the n3, while we have the n3, if the electron will jump over the n3 orbital, from that whatever we are having the line spectra, that is called by Paschen series. Next we have bracket. bracket, that means if the electron will come to the n4 orbital, n4, okay, it can come from the n5, it can come from the n6, or it can come from the n7. But if it is come to the n4 orbital, that is that spectra will give you the bracket. And after all, at the last we will get the Fermi series, okay, while the electron will jump to the n5 orbital. It can jump from n6, from 7, okay. So this is called, these spectra is called by the Fermi series, okay. So these are the some of the line spectra that we will get for the hydrogen atom, as the electron, as the changing of orbit of the electron. That's why we are getting this line spectra. Understand? Yes. Okay, so and this is the energy differences, that is initial orbit, and this is the final orbit. So EI minus EF, that should be the H nu, and this is the expression, okay. Okay, now we will discuss about the drawbacks of Bohr's atomic model. Yeah, what are the drawbacks of Bohr atomic model? What will happen? These are the some of the Bohr atomic model. Like, first drawback, Bohr atomic model only can be followed for the single electron system. Single electron system, okay. Like hydrogen, He plus, Li plus 2, mane lithium plus 2, sodium plus, okay. So only this is valid for the single electron system, but multi-electron system cannot follow this rule. Okay. Next, according to the Bohr's model, atomic model, the electrons are generally revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit. Okay, but actually this is not the actual case. Okay, and second thing, by the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we know the position of an electron and the momentum of an electron. Okay, the position and momentum of an electron cannot be calculated simultaneously. Okay, this is called Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But Bohr has derived the radius as well as the energy, which is the drawback of Bohr's atomic model. And also, what will happen? You have seen already the you have seen. Yes, this is the line spectra of hydrogen atom, you have seen already. Now what will happen if we apply in this line spectra some of the magnetic field or electric field? What will happen? These lines will be further splitted like this, okay. And Bohr cannot explain Bohr's atomic, from the Bohr's atomic model, we cannot explain this type of further splitting of energy levels in the whatever we have seen for the hydrogen atom. So these are the, and if we apply the magnetic field, that is called by Zeeman effect, and if we apply the electric field, that is called by Stark effect. So Zeeman effect or Stark effect cannot be explained by the Bohr's atomic model. So these are the some of the drawbacks of Bohr's atomic model. Okay, now to sort out the problem of Bohr's atomic model, whatever drawbacks we have, okay, so Sommerfeld proposed that the orbits may be both circular and elliptical. The electron can move, can revolve throughout the nucleus, around the nucleus, through the circular orbit or the elliptical orbit. Okay, so if the electron will be revolving around the nucleus through a elliptical orbit, That means we have two axes, one is major axis, one is minor axis, and every time the electron, what will happen, the position of the electron will be changing, the position and angular momentum both will be changing. But for circular orbit, what will happen, the radius is same for all, okay, for all position. That means but for this is electron, yes, okay, but for elliptical orbit, what will happen, while the electron will change its path, that time the both position and the angular momentum will be changed, okay. So if we follow the Sommerfeld atomic model, that time we have to introduce another quantum number, that is azimuthal quantum number or orbital angular momentum quantum number, okay. So this azimuthal quantum number or angular momentum quantum number, that is denoted by L, okay. The value of the L is, that is 0 to n minus 1. The value is n minus 1, okay. That means first we know that n equals to 1, principal quantum number, that is n equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if we follow the Sommerfeld atomic model, that means that if the electrons will follow the elliptical path, that means what will happen, that energy levels will have some of the sub energy levels, okay. Like for n, if n equals to 1, what will happen, we have, that means L, what will be the value of L, that will be the L value will be the 0. If n equals to 2, that means the sub levels will be what, the sub levels will be, yes, n minus 1, 0, 1. Understand? So this n2, the principal quantum number 2 will be divided into two sub levels. Understand? So this is called azimuthal quantum number or orbital quantum number. Sommerfeld suggested that the orbits are made of some sub-energy levels, that is SPDF. He has denoted by SPDF, that we will see. And according to the quantum mechanics, what will happen, MVR, that is equals to root over L into L plus 1 h by 2 pi, okay. So this is the equation for the orbital angular momentum or azimuthal quantum number, okay. So whatever I have told you, that is if consider if we have n equals to 4, so what are the values of L? L equals to should be 0 to n minus 1, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, okay. While the L value is 0, that orbit is called by the s orbital, okay. When it is the 1, the value is 1, that is called p orbital. If the L value is 2, that is called d orbital, and if the value is 3, that is called f orbital. Understand? So this n equals to 4 has what, this 4 sub energy levels, okay. Why? Because if we apply the magnetic field, that energy level will be divided into sub energy levels, and which we can consider, which we can indicate by only the angular orbital angular momentum or azimuthal quantum number, okay. Okay, now Zeeman effect. What will happen? These are the line spectra which we will get from the Bohr's atomic model. Now what will happen? Look here, if we apply here, as I told you, these energy levels will be subdivided. Okay, very closely spaced, some of the it's like a band, you can see here, it's like a band, huh? the energy levels are so closely spaced that it looks like a band. Why? When we are applying some of the magnetic field. Okay, interaction, there is a net magnetic moment. Okay, so this can be the splitting of spectral lines when an atom is placed in an external magnetic field was looked by the Faraday. Okay, scientist Faraday first observed this first observed this, that the line will be very splitted into very closely spaced line, which look like a band. Okay, this is called, and ultimately predicted on the basis of classical theory by the Zeeman. Okay, and this can be explained further by the elaborating the azimuthal quantum number, and that is why again we have introduced another quantum number, that is the magnetic quantum number. Okay, and that is ML, magnetic quantum number, and the value of the magnetic quantum number is plus L 2 minus L. Okay, and the total value is 2L plus 1. Okay, so this is just a quick review. Just students, you have to tell me, give one drawback of Bohr's model. For that you have 10-second time. Just memorize whatever I have told you and tell me the answer. Yeah, your 10-second time is over. You're absolutely right. This does not explain the Zeeman effect. Yeah, the spectral line further applying the magnetic field. Why the spectral line of the hydrogen atom splitted further and divided into very closely spaced energy levels, that he could not explain. Okay, so this is just a recapitulation whatever I have discussed today. I have discussed the spectra, the line spectra of the hydrogen atom. Yes, the drawbacks of Bohr's model also I have told you, right? So next I have told you the Sommerfeld model, how Sommerfeld introduced that the electron the electrons generally revolving around the nucleus through a elliptical orbit. Okay, as well as the circular orbit. So according to Sommerfeld, we have to introduce one more quantum number, that is the azimuthal quantum number or orbital quantum number, and after that we have the Zeeman effect. After that, what we apply some of the magnetic field to the line spectra of hydrogen atom. What will happen? We can see the spectra of the hydrogen atom further splitted in presence of magnetic field. So to explain this, we have to introduce another quantum number, that is called by magnetic quantum number. So about this magnetic quantum number we will discuss in our next class also. Okay, so magnetic quantum number actually ML, denoted by ML, and that is equals to plus L to minus L. Okay, so that we will discuss in the next class also. So thank you students. Just please follow the classes. Okay, and do the assignment, submit it in proper time. Okay, and if you have doubt, if you have any queries, so next class, in the next series also we will discuss the more topics related to the atomic structure. So bye bye students, and see you in the next class.